Today, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 steps into starting your cosplay photography journey. I know that these work because this is how I started. I've been shooting at conventions since 2018, and I've actually been doing this full time for 4 years now. Even if you are already on this journey, I think some insight on a few of these steps can be really helpful. I've sprinkled in some fun tips as well. Let's peek behind the curtain. So, you have decided that you want to try out cosplay photography. Or at the very least, you're a little bit curious. So, how do we find these cosplayers to take their photo? You need to go to an event that attracts cosplayers. Some of these events would be like anime convention, a gaming convention, a comic book convention, those kind of conventions that attract the nerds and the people in the fun costumes. And maybe you already are going to these events. So now what? One of the best ways to start is just approaching a cosplayer and asking for a photo. But how do we do that in a way that is not weird or, dare I say, inappropriate? There are some scenarios where you should not be asking someone for a photo at that time, and it's best to wait until after or later on if you happen to stumble upon them again. 1. Don't ask a cosplayer for a photo if they are eating or sitting down, clearly resting, if they look like they're in a hurry. You see them clearly sprinting across the convention center, maybe not ask them for a photo. Are they talking to someone? It's a little rude to interrupt conversation with someone because you really want a photo. I'm sure there will be an opportunity for that cosplayer is no longer talking to someone where you can stop. Also, not a great idea to ask people for photos when you are in dealer's hall or artist alley, as it can cause traffic jams. And normally the lighting in there is not even ideal or great anyways, so your photos might not come out great, and you're trying to leave a good first impression on these people. Some of these people might become your future clients, or they might be around for you for most of your career. A few of the people I stopped for Hallshots still work with me today. Probably the most important tip in this entire video. Do not, and I mean do not ever, ask a cosplayer to come back to your hotel room to take photos. Like, why? That is not safe to go with a random stranger to a hotel room because you have nice lighting. Just don't. That is how you fast track to get canceled. It's just not worth it. You might think this is a stupid tip, but the amount of cosplayers I've had tell me that they've had these experiences before is way too high. Just don't do that. Also, there is another option instead of just going straight into doing what we call haul shots, and you can ask maybe a cosplayer friend, hey, can I take photos of you? There you go. I did that a lot. I had a lot of my friends who would pose for me just so I could build up a portfolio, and eventually started charging people, but that's how you start. So you took a photo of a cosplayer. Now what? Well, you should either get their information. Most cosplayers have Instagram at least. Some of them have Facebook pages. Just something that you can tag them on Instagram later so you can share the photo with them, so you can make that connection. Now you've gotten your feet wet. You have taken some photos of cosplayers now, at the very least, and you kind of know what you're doing and you're starting to dabble. A great next option is finding local cosplay events. And these events are normally tailored for photography, like cosplayers who want to take photos, and it's great for photographers who want to experiment. Local events are great ways to meet people in your local community, and as well as a great way for you to get experience working with cosplayers more on a one-on-one, more intimate setting as opposed to a quick haul shot. You can find these events normally on Facebook. You can also ask around in your local community groups. A great way is go to your local convention's Facebook group and ask, hey, are there any cosplay events happening, or keep an eye out. So now you have built up quite a portfolio. Now you need to find somewhere to post it. I highly recommend making an Instagram and a Facebook page for your photography. I know it can be tempting as a cosplayer to want to keep it all on your cosplay pages, trust me, it is not a good idea. Clients do not like that. They want the separation because it can be confusing. Say, I want to book someone, and I look through their page, and I can't tell what is their photography and what is their own cosplays, and you know what I mean? I keep things separated, and I'm glad I did. I did this at the beginning, set up my photography account, and I kept it exclusive to my photography. Another option is a website. I also made a website within, I think I made it in March. I started December, and in March I had already built a portfolio website. Some conventions, they require you to have a website if you want to apply for a photography badge. That is a whole nother horse I will probably talk about into a future video. Well, we'll keep that horse over there for now. A portfolio website will probably cost you some money though, so that is something to be aware of. I use Squarespace to host my own website. You can actually check out what my website looks like in the description. Also, I think just having your own website just makes you look a lot more professional, and it makes people want to work with you. A lot of cosplay is seen as fun, and it is fun, but we are also, we're trying to be professionals in this industry. We need to look like professionals in this industry. I clearly look like a professional, don't I? As a dress and clown makeup. So now we have a portfolio, and people like to look through that before they even think about paying. So now we are going to create an ad. If you have been in Facebook groups, you probably have seen photographers advertise before. They normally have like a few of their images and their pricing points and whatnot. So I personally use Canva to make my ads, and it makes it really convenient because I can just copy my design and create a new one and then post the other photos, but I still have the old design. Just Canva is just very easy to use. Honestly, you can use it for more than just ads. You can use it for so many things. You have access to Photoshop or something similar. You can always make your ads there. I do find it a little bit more complicated and can take you more time in Photoshop. Like Canva is just kind of easier to use. Your ad should be showcasing your abilities, and you should probably have a diverse portfolio. Because people are not going to want to book you if you don't have someone that looks like them on your portfolio. Also, you want to make sure that they are easily read. I should be able to tell at a quick glance your pricing, at least your base package. I know it can be a lot to add. I used to advertise all of my packages, but I've cut it down, so I just have like my basic package or the lowest price point, so people can tell at a quick glance, can I afford you? A lot of people won't even put prices on their page, and a lot of people aren't going to ask, even if they might have been able to afford you, because they just assume that it's out of their budget initially. Also, it helps the market, so people know what other people that they think in their skill level are charging, so they know what to charge. Here's my first ad. Eek, it was really rough. I did get better though. So you have this ad. Now what? Well, you need to figure out how you are going to use this ad to book people. Are you going to say, hey, message me if you're interested? What is your game plan? The easiest way for starting out is just doing it in DMs. Telling people, hey, just message me. And you can talk to them directly and schedule them that way. So let's talk about the pros and cons of this. So here are the pros. It feels more personal to the client because you're talking to them directly, and they can kind of see, oh, you're real, or they can get a good feel of like if you're cool or chill or not. So this is a good way to leave a good first impression. You have more control of your schedule. So when I started in the beginning, I wanted to make sure I had 15 minutes in between each photo session, which is, I think, is a great way for starting out, and you should use that if you need a good guideline. I feel like it gives you enough time, and there's some buffer in case photos go over or vice versa. So now let's talk about the cons. It does not look very professional to your clients, which is why I think it's okay in the beginning, but you should be transitioning to some of the later options as you grow more and business starts growing. Stuff can be forgotten for both ways. If you just talk to someone in a DM, the person might forget, or you might forget. And that's not good for either way. And that happened to me quite a few times when I would do that. So learn from my mistakes. Also, it can get very overwhelming if you're booking for multiple conventions at the same time. Second option, Google Forms. My beloved. It is a great option. Honestly, I think people should start Google Forms because you can collect so much information that might be time consuming to do in messages. That was another reason why I stopped doing the DMs. I feel like the more you move up in your career in this, you have to find ways to create more time for yourself to work on other side projects because being a cosplay photographer, I wear so many different hats. I'm doing social media work, have to interact with my community, editing time, editing. I edit 80% of the time. I'm editing something, or scheduling a post, or just talking to people about concepts. You only have so much time in the day. Get a Google form. I highly recommend that as the first option. So let's talk pros and cons of Google Forms. The pros. First of all, most important one, it's free and highly accessible. If you have a Google account, you can make a Google form right now if you wanted. It also looks way more professional as opposed to just DMing people. And then another great pro is that you can actually use all the form responses and turn them into a Google Sheet. So it will be very easy for you to create a schedule and have all the important information of their photo shoot, like cosplay, their information, their handle, organization. So key with this. Let's talk about the cons of Google Forms. One of the scariest ones I've ever had was it will sometimes just lose responses. One of my lights turned out. I think it was a ghost. One of the worst experiences I've had with Google Forms is clients' responses getting lost. That is honestly the worst and scariest thing because it leaves a bad impression on the client because they think that you just didn't want to work with them. It's not good. You don't want that. Maybe you do. And if you do, I have a lot of questions for you. I've also had people double book the same time slot. It gets really tricky with Google Forms if you were trying to do specific time slots. Maybe it's better. But back in the day, at least a few years ago when I was using it, it was not great. Now we're gonna get into what I highly recommend, especially if you want to take this seriously. It's called Use Session, kind of similar to Pixie Set, but I don't really have experience with Pixie Set, so I'm just gonna be talking about Use Session today. So the pros: extremely professional, beautiful. You have a lot of control over the design. Google Forms has a look to it, if you know what I mean. I can look at it and be like, this is Google Forms. There's not a lot of customability. But with Session, you have a lot more control over how you present your images and structure your photo shoots. Also, the pro is it can send out emails for you. A miracle, a lifesaver. They will also send out automatic emails, payment reminder emails, all of it. They'll send out gallery stuff as well. We'll talk about that soon. The biggest pro in this entire list, it handles payment processing. I am so tired of sending out PayPal invoices. Also, it can be your website. Another amazing pro is that it handles gallery delivery and soft proofing. So if you're like me, I take like a bunch of photos and then I allow clients to pick their favorite from the set that they want me to do the final edits on. This allows that and it be all streamlined through Session. If you're looking to maximizing the time not spent on messaging people, well, we have lost all the fun lighting because the battery died. Oops. Let's talk about the cons now. So the major con is it is paid. These other options are free, and like I said, they're great for starting out. There will come a time where it is more valuable for you to pay money for this service. So there's a 15-minute lock on spots, which is great if you have the issue where people are fighting over the same time slots, which I do have that happen sometimes. However, it can also be a con because the amount of times I will get a message, hey, Kara, I got locked out of the time slot I was trying to book. Can you please open it back up? And I say, sure. And it also can just frustrate people because what if they wanted that time spot? So it is something to keep in mind. And when I do open con bookings, I do have to be aware and keep track of my social media in case people are messaging me like, here, help, I lost my time slot. If you're curious, you can check out the link below to check out Use Session. Cat cameo. Woo! What are you doing? Also, another tip for you guys. If you are a cosplayer, you should just go book another photographer because that is amazing research. You're able to kind of see the process directly and kind of get an idea. It's kind of fun to see how other like photographers handle or like how their workflow is. So it's just market research. If you follow these steps, you should have a good head start onto your cosplay photography journey. Now, my next event is GalaxyCon Columbus, and I will be filming my second CMV there. You can actually check out my first down here. Ooh, how fun! And if you're interested in special effects editing, you can check out my fire editing tutorial over there.